How do you measure success?
Like, how would you measure success for me as a Generation X? Z.
Yeah, so,
Why don't you tell him what you want to do? I want to become an anesthesiologist at Duke's Children's Hospital in Durham.
okay. So, there's different ways to measure success. One is you put people to sleep and they wake up. Right?
That would be nice.
No, it's a success criteria. Right, yeah. The other is, you measure success, I would measure your success saying you pursued the career, you secured the career, and you love the career. And if those things happen, that's success. But it's all in the eyes of the beholder. I mean, you know, if it was my daughter, I'm very proud of my daughter because she changed her major in college like 3 times. And finally settled on being a teacher, and I'm like, well, it's good because you're going to be unemployed. I guess that's the best I can answer. Is that cool? You're welcome.
Yes.
My main career goals are architecture and urban planning, although I am considering design engineering, basically actually with computers as a third option. But my question was more about job outlook, because I found a lot of times when I go to look up stuff with anything related to engineering or anything like that, even sometimes the same site, even the one that I believe you had picked out for us to read, they were like, a lot of the things would contradict each other. One would be saying like, this job is definitely growing, it will definitely be there for you, like be there and be a good job. If you look at the future, the same site might say on another part of the page saying like, really it's not really something that's really there for you to do. So does it just really depend on the situation or the location?
Well, a lot of it has to do with location. That's a great question. A lot does have to do with location. Like you say, architectural engineering, right? Our infrastructure is atrocious. It's going to have to be rebuilt in the next 20 years. Not all at once, but we're way behind. In fact, Nicole's husband works for a construction company that oversees what's going on at the airport right now with all that stuff, right? That's, when you look at location, think of the major hubs, right? Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, LA. Huge infrastructure that's going to continue to evolve from an architectural perspective, right? The infrastructure, or even from engineering. I mean, they can't sustain themselves in those locations anymore. So they have to be redeveloped. But I think there's no good. There's a lot of sites that contradict each other. There's no single good answer except get with somebody, as you move forward in the next couple of years, counselors in career opportunities. You can call and get a mentor at an architectural company or an engineering company that there's a lot of people willing, right, in management positions to help guide you. In fact, I tell people just like Nicole's previous boyfriend, internships, right? There's a lot of internships that are going to be very helpful to you.
What about like job shadowing? Is that something that they allow to? Job shadowing, is that
Yeah,
something else?
absolutely. You asked.
As a businessman, how do you feel about the minimum wage strike that's going on in the country today?
Yeah, so you have to be careful what you ask for. I believe in a fair and equitable wage. I think we kind of flopped it backwards in the last 10 years where wages haven't kept up with the economy. It's causing a problem. I think it's okay that all these discussions are happening. In fact, I kind of admire it, but understand on the other end, when wages go up, product prices are going to go up. It all gets adjusted, okay? So as a businessman, I feel okay as long as we keep it relative. Now, I used to meet with CEOs and CIOs in New York City. And they look at me and go, why did you hire those people in Costa Rica? I go, why did you ask for a 50% discount last month? And they look at me and go, well, Joe, we need help. I go, well, I need help. If you give me money, I'll invest them in people. And so you need to understand this checks and balances, right, concept, and it's economy, economy 101, economics. That, I feel bad, I like to see everybody's salary, but also gonna end up on the other end too, just so you know. Okay? Now, on the other end, we need more competition. So people build things cheaper, because we can't continue to build everything in China either. You know, because I'll tell you, I think their work is even worse there, right?
I basically have 3 questions. What qualities do you look for when interviewing a potential employee? What do you look at a resume that makes you interested in a particular applicant? And what tips can you give an individual in advancing in their career?
Yeah, do the first part.
What qualities do you look for when interviewing a potential employee?
So, because I'm a baby boomer, you know, I look at how they dress, how they prepare themselves, how they present themselves, right? I like them to ask good questions, and I like them to listen to my answers and play back things. I like them to do the research on the company and come prepared to say, here's what I can do to help you, Joe, grow your business. Okay?
Okay. What do you look for in a resume that makes you interested in a particular applicant? So,
in the resume, continuity. You can't have a 3-year gap that I think you went to prison. You're either working or in school. You know, so in the resume, you look at the dates and say, what was this person doing from this day to this day, this year to this year, this year to this year. But there's a gap. You want to know. But that, you know, it's okay to have a gap. I've told employees, listen, if you've been on maternity leave and decide to stay home for the first 3 years of your child's life, put it. That's a career. Stay at home mom. Right? So that's what I look for.
And what tips can you give an individual in advancing their career?
So, my tip in advancing career is first do what you do well. Second, continue to invest in your own training and be a risk taker. Be somebody that is recognized within the mass. There may be a room like this, but the boss recognizes who you are, or one of them, right? So, that's my biggest thing.
At what point do you think that getting a higher education because of the cost of college isn't always worth it? If your job requires like a master's degree and it's going to cost you so much money down the road?
Well, I actually delayed my career and went in the airport because I couldn't afford to go to college. I don't think it was the right thing to do, but I didn't suffer in the long run. I think there's a lot of programs that are available for financial aid, right? And I would say utilize as much financial aid programs as you can and don't postpone it for years because of the cost. I know it's easy to say, but I think it's important enough that you don't want to backburner a career. Look for other opportunities. And I think the payoff down the road will be a lot more job security and, you know, happiness. But you know, if you look at my career and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, not that I put them right there, but none of us finished college. Right? I mean, we went back after we got jobs, and after we got careers, and went to college at night, and did it the hard way. But, and we do know that there's lots of issues, right? So be there for the scholarships, look for companies that are looking for mentorship programs, and you know what? Even if you get a baseline degree, a lot of companies offer tuition refund, you know, tuition assistance, value to them.
We have time for one more question. So, have one, all right. Okay, what was like, when you were littler, what was your, like, wanting to do for a career? Like, when I was, like, really little, I always, like, wanted to be a princess, and then, like, that was my first career, I was destined to be a princess, and then, like, now, I'm older, I realize that that might not be the best job for me, and so, like, I'm looking into psychology, but, like, what were your first ideas of what you wanted to do?
So, in high school, I was one of these guys that sat in this little computer room on a teletype machine and hooked up to a mainframe computer somewhere, I don't know where, and would do programming. And I loved it. But there were no computers around, right? In the late 60s and 70s, there's no, I couldn't, except for that little closet. So I said, as much as I love computers, I'm stuck in a closet at high school. So I said, well, you know what, I'm good at math, so I want to be a bean counter. I wanted to be an accountant. But I went in the service. So I said, you know what, when I went in the service, and this is a true story, they do an interview, and because I was a volunteer, I went in, they said, hey, so write down all your skills, and I wrote down all my skills, and talked about my time in the closet with the teletype machine. And then they said, is that it? And I go, no, well, I was good at, I spoke French, I took 4 years of French in high school. Oh, really? Oh, well, we want you to show up at this other building tomorrow, because your French really interests us. Wow. Little did I know, right? I always thought they were lying in high school. So I go to that building the next day, and I sit down, and this old, grumpy old sergeant looks at me and goes, what are you doing here? Reminded me like my father. What are you doing here? I took French in high school. They asked me, and I told them. He goes, are you nuts? He goes, where do we speak French in the world? I go, Paris? He goes, how about French Indochina, called Vietnam? He goes, if you want to be in the jungle, go ahead and take that test. If you want to go to Biloxi, Mississippi and learn computer electronics, get out of this building, take a stupid pill, and go over to the electronics building. True story. So, you know, it's just funny how, you know, careers can come about. But food for thought, okay? Hope that helps everyone.